Hey, Todd Burrier from toddburrier.com. Today we're going to talk about a really big leadership concept that's so important to remember. And I'll give you a little story here that's not networking related, but it's absolutely exactly what I'm talking about. So for quite a few years, I served on some different boards in the community. One for the Community Colleges Foundation, another one for a pretty big organization that does a lot for the underprivileged. And after a little while, I stepped away from those boards. And the reason I stepped away was not that I didn't have the time for them. I did. I wanted to be participating and volunteering. The reason I stepped away is that they refused to do anything more than just ask for money. In other words, and I wasn't the only one. When you have people that are volunteering, they all volunteer for different reasons, and they have different things to bring to whatever it is. And I was willing to utilize my talents and abilities in the community for the sake of the boards, and they were unwilling to look at ways to utilize talent. And so they were trying to put every board member into a specific box. And what ended up happening was neither of those boards ended up doing very much. And I'm like, okay, well, there isn't a place here for me. Because if you can't use my abilities, what do I need to come? I'm not a guy who walks around town and asks for money. That's not my role. I have other gifts that I could do that could bring you a lot more funds. And so the point is, the reason I bring that up is because the people that are in your teams, the teams that you're leading, the people you're sponsoring, just like me in that situation, they are volunteers. Now, this would be true in any field now, in any work. If every boss in the world, now you're not a boss in this situation, you're in a leadership position the minute you sponsor someone, or I should say you have the ability to lead someone, the potential to lead someone. They have to see you that way. But everybody needs to understand that in today's world, everybody's a volunteer because there's so many opportunities, so many possibilities. The world is so wide open. Nobody has to do anything. They just don't. They can figure out a way to do something if they want. But it's particularly true in our industry and always has been. And it wasn't long ago. I get so much stuff from an email perspective and a direct message perspective because I serve and teach the right things and I help everybody. And so I get lots of stuff, like people who will share with me some of the things that are done in the industry, where people who are their uplines, right, their sponsors, or maybe the people in leadership positions above them, treat them very, very poorly because they won't do a certain thing that they tell them to do, right? Now I want you to think about that. I get it on one hand. Maybe they're trying to suggest something they think would be beneficial, and I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. In many of the cases, that's not true. In many cases, it's them trying to exercise authority, right? And it's because they want them to do something for them, not for themselves. That's not the point. The people who come to your organization are there for their own reasons. And one of the absolute primary reasons that people are involved in network marketing at all is freedom. The last thing they want is control, right? They've already come from that. That's what they live in. They live in systems of control. And they don't like it because systems of control lead to conformity, right? They lead to pressing down. They lead to not allowing the individual to flourish. And that is, the human being will rebel against that over time. It's a guarantee. You see it in all history is that. Entire history of the human race is that. It is people getting into structures where there becomes more and more conformity and then they blow up. Why? Because people don't want conformity. They'll accept it to a degree, but not in any situation of volunteering. And in your teams, everybody is a volunteer. You have no power. You have no authority. These people have to want here. You cannot give them any consequences. I have seen people, this is how stupid some people can be relative to this topic, where they were literally cut off supporting someone who they've sponsored, who wants to do it, right? Who wants to build the business. Now think about that. And they cut them off from their support because they won't do what they say. That is one of the stupidest things I've ever heard. You should be flipping the script and going, okay, hey, if you want to do it this way, fine. As long as it's not breaking any rules, how could I help you? Because this person's trying to build something, and last I looked, there wasn't a human being alive that knew it all. And in today's world, if you think you know it all, you're really an idiot, right? I mean, you have missed the train, right? I mean, you don't know a fraction of anything in today's world. Most of what you know just changed while I said this, right? And so, literally, I've seen people cut people off, treat them poorly, not support them, try to make them quit. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. And matter of fact, I hope if you are one of those people, you're taking this to heart, because you're missing it. You will never create something of long-term value, because the only people that'll stay with you under that are people who are scared, right? You can't build a business with scared people. You got to build business with people who are growing up and growing out, right? You got to remember, people are here for their own reasons. Different strokes for different folks. I mean, that is absolutely true. Everybody you sponsor has different strengths and abilities and affinities and talents and needs and reasons and experiences. And come on, how can you possibly try to put someone in a box? That's the opposite. You need to blow up walls. You need to break down boxes. This ain't about boxes. This is about freeing people and breaking chains. You know, when I teach you a process that works. It doesn't matter how you work it. I don't teach systems. I don't teach programs. I don't teach any form of control. I say, here's the process. As long as you're making a contact and sharing information and following up with that person and then serving and loving them and helping them, who gives a darn how you do that, right? I mean, there's so many different ways to do it. You can't even keep track of them. And they all work if you'll do them with the right spirit and the right heart and do enough of it. Doesn't matter if it's online or offline or downline or upline or outliers. Who cares? None of that stuff matters. It's all about, you have volunteers. You got to welcome them. You got to respect them. You got to support them. You got to love them. Or they're going to leave and they're going to go somewhere else, just like I did with those boards, and some other really good people I knew did the same thing. Why? Because people are here for their own reasons, and they want the freedom to choose. And the more successful people get, the more they won't accept conformity anyway. All you got to do is look around you. I mean, come on, this is human nature 101. Anyone with any modicum of understanding of people knows that you cannot keep good people down. You cannot keep truth down. You cannot keep love down. You cannot keep good people down. And so why would you try? I mean, that's not even the best way to do it. It's not fun, right? It doesn't lead to feel good. It doesn't lead to people like going, I love being here. It leads to the opposite. So why would you do it anyway? It doesn't even make sense. So that is a massive, massive, massive leadership lesson that you should never, ever forget. Your people are volunteers. They need to be treated that way. They need to be served. They need to be helped. They need to be supported. They need to have the blessings to grow up and be the person they want to grow up and be inside of your organization, or they won't be inside of your organization very long. And by the way, if you have not read Leading with Heart, make sure you get that. That will help you so much. Because it's all about this context, and that stuff really makes a difference. So I hope this is helpful for you. If you haven't gotten my 27 scripts that really work, make sure at toddberry.com you put your email in, and you get that free download, and feel free to share this message. All right? Take care.